Goba was late.
Traffic G20.
Thanks. DG, I'll check a piece.
All ready to go.
Yeah. Let's proceed. Yeah, let's proceed.
Good morning, Premier. Good morning, colleagues from the media. My name is still Elijah Mhlanga. We are going to start with the media briefing. Without any waste of time, I'll hand over to the Premier, who's assisted by the MECs and the DG. We also expect the MEC Mamabolo to also join the briefing. Is already within the building. I'm going to hand over to the Premier to start with the briefing. We'll be joined shortly by the Provincial Commissioner of the Police in Gauteng. Premier, over to you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Elijah Mhlanga. Let me thank you for coordinating this media briefing. I want to acknowledge the MEC responsible for health and wellness, MEC Nkomorali Huku. I also want to acknowledge the MEC that has been chairing our weekly sessions and responsible for coordination of these meetings, MEC Dialet Lavela. I want to acknowledge MEC Mamabulo, who's going to, has joined us, MEC Mamabulo. MEC Mamabulo is MEC responsible for COCTA. That's the coordination of municipalities. We are going to be joined by the Provincial Commissioner of Police, Lieutenant General Mtombeni, and we are also joined by the Director General of the province. Fellow citizens, the Gauteng government, the host province of the G20 Leaders Summit, can boldly declare that we held and successfully delivered a safe, stable, and resilient G20 Leaders Summit. Our biggest achievement wasn't just readiness. It was the coordination model that was adopted, where we met weekly with all national government departments, provincial government leadership, local government leadership, and the agencies that were responsible for roads, electricity, water, and maintenance. We also had the presence of the South African police in all our planning institutions, including law enforcement agencies that cut across our country. On behalf of the Gauteng provincial government, we wish to extend our deep gratitude and deepest appreciation to all the individuals and organizations whose firm dedication and collective spirit were instrumental in the successful hosting of the 2025 G20 Leaders Summit. When Gauteng was entrusted with this landmark event, the first on an African soil, we recognized it as both a great honor and a significant responsibility that we needed to execute on behalf of the country. The path to the summit was not without its own challenges, but it was through a collective, solution-driven approach that we were able to showcase our province and our nation's capability to the world. We extend a special word of gratitude to our partners across the following organizations and institutions. Firstly, we want to heartily thank the people of Gauteng, by extension South Africans, for the cooperation, tolerance that they've displayed during the G20 period. We also want to thank our President, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, for entrusting us as a province with this important project on behalf of the country. We extend our sincere appreciation to his cabinet, in particular the Department of International Relations, the Department of Finance, and government institutions that have been working with us since the announcement that our province is going to host this event. But I want to thank NASREC, the management, staff, and its service providers for going beyond the call of duty, not only to beautify NASREC, but to place it on an international platform as one of those sought after international meeting venues. Our sincere appreciation to the Gauteng Executive Council for allocating time and moment in the Executive Committee meetings to specifically focus on G20 related matters, in particular project planning, budgeting, and the execution plan that we meet every Tuesday to implement what we agreed upon. We want to appreciate and thank national agencies, in particular AXA, SANRAL, Border Management Agency, and all those institutions that are within local government, GRA, Joburg Water, JMPD, City Power, and institutions that are found within other government departments that have given us the necessary support that we needed during this important period. We appreciate the cooperation of the taxi industry. They were part of our meetings, traditional leaders, business, and those work streams that were established specifically to identify areas that will assist us to eliminate vandalism, to eliminate sabotage, and to eliminate areas that has been a hallmark of disruptions in our province. So 3 weeks ago, on the 4th of November 2025, the Gauteng Provincial Government briefed you as members of the media on our state of readiness. We indicated that on 4 critical areas, electricity, water, sewer, and refuse removal, we were on top of the situation. We can now boldly declare that our water system, electricity or energy system, the sewer system, carried us through this summit without any single incident of disruptions. We intend to use this experience to benefit the citizens of our province and to broaden this investment so that we don't have disruptions of water, energy, sewer, and rubbish collection in our province again. We are pleased, as we've indicated, that indeed the feedback that we've received from international guests, the feedback that we've received from heads of states, the feedback that we've received from journalists that were covering the event reaffirms who we are, a nation of Ubuntu, a nation of hospitality, a nation of peace, a nation of care, and a nation of support, thus confirming our extensive preparation and seamless coordination from our national, provincial, and local government department and agencies that gave us this support. These structures worked relentlessly in accelerating service delivery, refurbishing critical infrastructure, and ensuring that our cities were presented at their best. The agile governance and close collaboration with national and local government counterparts demonstrated the power of integrated planning and execution, turning ambitious goals into tangible reality. Our law enforcement agencies, their professional and visible presence, ensured a safe and secure environment for all delegates and citizens, upholding the highest standards of security protocols. You all know, South Africans being South Africans, there was no way that will not have problems. We can report the following disturbing incidences that happened in our province during this period under review. There was theft or pickpocketing of delegates representing Vietnam at Checkers Sandton City Mall, where their cell phones and their luggage were stolen. Because of the systems that were put in place, within the limited period, 4 suspects were immediately arrested. At Da Vinci Hotel, 1 suspect was arrested for imposition of firearm without proper permits. At Mercure Hotel, Ferndale, there was a theft of firearm from a member of the SAPS and a possession of firearm and ammunition, and the negligent loss of firearm. Because of the systems that were put in place, 2 suspects were immediately arrested, and both suspects were charged at Linden Police Station. In total, I think this is very important, in total, we managed to arrest during this period of the G20 1,799 people. This was between the period November 17th and 20th. And the arrest included suspects wanted for vandalizing infrastructure, along with individuals involved in serious crimes like theft, kidnapping, intimidation, and extortion. Among this, that is amongst the 1,799 people arrested, 1,075 cases were for contact crimes, which include assault, rape, murder, attempted murder, and house robberies. With the assistance of the police and the support that they've given us, we are proud to respond to report to the following additional cases. One, I think you are familiar of this one, which was trespassing, where members of a certain organization wanted to raid the Nasrec Expo Center, and a case was opened at Boysens Police Station. We also had a case of intimidation on the 7th of November, and a Section 205 was submitted to BOLT, and no information could be provided. We had 2 pilots from Brazil that were on a Uber with 2 ladies that they met at an entertainment area. After failure to agree to a certain transaction with these ladies, the 2 pilots decided to leave the Uber and wanted to walk to Captain Park from Sandton. And the police intercepted them and provided the necessary support and resolved the matter with the ladies involved, who agreed to a reduced transaction of 100% to 30% with a discount of 70%. On the basis of this, the matter was regarded closed. There was also burglary and business robbery in Sanwat Park, and on the basis of this, a case was also opened in Sanwat Park. This and other cases that were reported were all attended to, with the highlight being a car hijacker that wanted to hijack a police car filled with policemen and using a toy gun, and the police dealt with the situation appropriately. It's within this context that as a provincial government, we want to thank the law enforcement agencies. And this morning we had our sessions, and we indicated to the law enforcement agencies that they must continue with the support that has been provided, and the police have indicated that this exercise is not a cheap exercise, and they gave us round figures on how much it costed them to have the kind of law enforcement agency in our province in the last 3 days. We are in deep discussion with the provincial commissioner and the national commissioner to find a way of maintaining some of this law enforcement presence so that we can make Gauteng a better Gauteng. In terms of infrastructure, we are quite convinced that we have dealt with the entire infrastructure needs that was needed to have a successful G20 Leaders Summit. Our roads infrastructure was upgraded, the street lights were upgraded, and we've also managed to repair some of the traffic signals that were a problem in our province. In this regard, we want to thank the workers and the relevant institutions that gave us support. We will continue to repair the potholes, and will also continue to repair the street lights and the traffic signals that need support. Unfortunately, during this period, it was quite clear that there was a clear team that was hell-bent to destroy, vandalize some of the state installations during this period, with an intention of projecting a picture of a failed state. Even though majority of these people were arrested, it is quite clear that there were some people that were not happy that were hosting this important event in our province. We also concluded an integrated traffic management. It is within this context that we want to apologize to our citizens for the road closures that went beyond the extended period. This was at the center and the core of our traffic management strategy. The closure of these roads was with a purpose, and we would like to appreciate the support and the cooperation provided by our citizens. In terms of essential services, Johannesburg Water maintained a secure water supply, while our resilient energy plan guaranteed uninterrupted power at all areas that needed power, at hotels, communities, businesses, at the venue, but most importantly, at roads that were leading to this important event. I've already given a brief of the unified force of the SAPS, National and Provincial Traffic Police, Metro Police, as well as the private security companies that guarded, guided, and led the arrival and the departure of all heads of states. A network of our CCTV cameras came handy to identify areas that needed immediate intervention, but most importantly, to ensure that those that are our guests in our country were supported with CCTV cameras, face recognition, as well as monitoring of the movements of our tourists. We can confirm that this was a resounding economic support for our province. Preliminary reports indicate that weekend alone, Gauteng scored an investment amount close to between 1 billion and 3 billion rands, even though we are still consolidating these figures from the hotels, travel agencies, and institutions that share their statistics with our institutions. But we can confirm almost all our hotels were booked, the airlines to our province were fully booked, and our malls were busy with visitors, including our tourist destinations in Soweto, Magalies, and Sandton in particular, where a majority of our visitors enjoyed themselves. So the summit did not just bring a large influx of visitors, including heads of state, delegates, and media. It also created a huge demand of future investment, and we entered in long debates, discussion between local businesses as well as future investors. In the deliberation halls, we're introduced to investors that have identified our province of Gauteng as a preferred destination for future investment. So the positive exposure is priceless, especially considering the data shows that G20 countries account for more than 78% of the global economy and 58% of international visitors. The summit not only positioned Gauteng as the destination of choice for investors, but also taught us several important lessons. One amongst them is that we always assume that English is the international language that is utilized. Our interpretation capabilities were overstretched, and in some instances, non-existent. I shared a table with a team that was coming from 2 other countries. Every time people say Amandla, they ask me, what is Amandla? Or when we explain Ubuntu, they want to know what is Ubuntu. And I don't think that we managed to put the language interpretation tools available to those that don't speak English. I think that's one area that we felt that as a province, including road signages, everything is written in one language. And if they're driving alone, it becomes very difficult. Or if they want direction to other destinations, it becomes one area. So it's one area that we need to invest a lot of money to ensure that whatever that we do covers this important aspect. As we've indicated, colleagues, we said we are going to continue with the work that we have done. This morning, we held our first post-G20 meetings with municipalities, national government, and provincial government to continue to do our work and to beautify our province and to sustain the intervention that we've made. We want to reaffirm this, and we've said it before. It's just that we get accused every now and then. When we defeated load shedding just prior to elections, we're told that we defeated load shedding because there were elections. And now we are beyond elections. Load shedding is still not there. But people didn't believe that. Even now, we are told that we are putting a lipstick on a pig purely because of G20. We want to commit that we are going to go beyond G20. Unfortunately, we conducted G20 in the middle of unfavorable weather conditions. The majority of our traffic lights were affected. Some of the potholes emerged, but we are now committed to go back and repair these unfortunate conditions. The next biggest event that is coming to our province is what is called Leaf International Golf Tournament. It's a World Cup of golf. It's going to be held from the 20th to the 23rd of March at Steyn City here in Johannesburg. Almost 120,000 tickets have been sold for this event. So we'll put up the necessary systems to prepare for this event. We are also quite aware that the Cricket World Cup, 2027 Cricket World Cup, our province has been awarded to host some of the tournaments. And we also want to put up the necessary systems for this tournament. So going forward, we want to maintain the momentum. We want to take the experience of coordinating events together with national government and local government as a way forward that will assist us to resolve the hard-pressed challenges that our province has been facing. Once more, we want to thank all our citizens, all our government institutions, business. This is the way forward that we want to take, and this is the way forward that we want to carry to ensure that Gauteng is an investment destination of choice, but most importantly, it can bring tourists to our province. Thank you so much, Elijah, for your attention.
Thank you so much, Premier. Thank you for the statement. Colleagues, as we indicated earlier, MECs are here, as well as the Provincial Commissioner of the Police in Gauteng. We will be able to respond to some of the issues that you might want to ask regarding security. I think the Premier also mentioned some of those incidents that you may be interested in getting more information about.
Elijah, maybe let me formally apologize on behalf of municipalities. They are at the Salga conference. We don't want to steal their thunder. They played a key role, and we don't want, when we report on this matter, we exclude them. And also apologize that we have to go into the House in the next 30 minutes or so. So we must not be accused of avoiding questions if we have to go back into the debate inside the House. Thanks, Elijah.
Thank you so much, Premier. Noted, noted. Let's take questions, colleagues. I'm seeing 2 hands, which helps because it looks like we'll hit the 10 o'clock deadline. Okay, let's start.
Good morning, just a quick one for me. It's a matter of the people arrested. I don't know. I know you mentioned the figure, but there were some figures there. You talked about murder and attempted murder. I'm not sure if that's related to G20. Do we have a figure maybe of just how many arrests or how many cases were reported just regarding G20 alone? Thank you.
Good morning, Premier and the rest of the leadership. Right here from Netwerk 24. Premier, my question is around more of a leadership philosophy, if I can frame it like that. I'm sure the morale of the staff is up, the municipalities. I mean, it was a very successful event, like you mentioned yourself. So how do you continue building on that momentum? What are you telling people? What are you saying to them? Listen, it's over now, or are you saying, let's keep it going, and what's the motivation? Because there's no more G20 now as a motivation. I also saw that you met with the British Premier that also wants a train. I saw you gave away a train as well. But just more on that, are they going to invest? What's the numbers and the figures on that? And then for young people, I see the MEC for economic development is here. What industries should they invest in? What are those industries that you are saying, listen, these are the industries that the international community is looking at, and these are the type of businesses we would like to see in Gauteng? And then just one for the provincial commissioner. I know there was talks of a PKTT for Gauteng. Is that still on the cards? Do you think there's a need for that, Commissioner? And then just lastly, just on the ANC in Johannesburg's conference, where are we on that? Is that still happening before the end of the year? Thank you.
Please give it here in the front.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Naledi Mashishi. I'm from Daily Maverick. I just have one question. Would you be able to give us an idea of like how many temporary jobs were created over the G20 weekend, if there were any, and if there are any plans in place to sort of keep some of those jobs around?
Okay, thank you. Premier, if we can just take those 3 questions, We have 3 other hands as second round.
Okay. Let me start with Breton. I think Tavisokova, the provincial commissioner, will respond on the arrests that were specifically related to the G20. We covered them within the period that were identified. Indeed, Breton, it was a huge success, I must be honest. The nerves were there. It's very difficult to please our president. In some instances, I think we have seen him moving flower pots himself, and because he said to us, these are my peers that go an extra mile when we visit their country. I don't want to drop the ball, and also I don't want to break the trust that they have in me. So we're carried by that spirit ourselves, and we extended it to staff, we extended it to the leadership, and the message was that let's not disappoint. But we're also doing it for the continent, because it was for the first time that we're carrying this responsibility, and that this G20 was held in our continent. So we had that extra burden not to disappoint people of this continent as well. So we had that extra burden. So it's job well done, but we said to them we are continuing, because South Africans feel that if we can stop, it will send a very wrong message that we have this visible law enforcement agencies for international guests, not for South Africans. So if we can continue with that, South Africans will appreciate the work that we are doing. And that is why we are now punching numbers with the provincial commissioner, because a lot of overtime, a lot of cars needed, a lot of support needed. So we said to the provincial commissioner, we want to continue with the visibility of the police. I mean, the mere fact somebody steals a cell phone in a checker store, within 4 hours we arrest those people using CCTV face recognition. It's a demonstration that we can enforce law enforcement in our province. So we want to continue with that and work around that. So it's not over, Britain, to both ourselves and workers. That is why the MEC continues to chair our meeting. He chaired our meeting at 7 o'clock this morning. Even though the meeting must start at 7, she has a tendency of starting the minutes at 5 to 7. I don't know why, but it's a demonstration of commitment to ensure that we need to continue. It was indeed ad hominem to host the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he specifically requested to see our Gauteng train investment. And they've got huge interest in expanding the support for the parts. You are quite aware that we're expanding Gautrain to other areas in our province. I think we'll make an announcement early next year. And they're keen to work with us during that expansion. But we are also expanding or establishing a new speed train between Gauteng and Limpopo, between Gauteng and KZN. And we're using that to interact with the relevant investors in that space. Well, it was us that called for the establishment of the PKTT in the province. Unfortunately, it's starting to take another shape, because our interest was ward councillors, officials of government, politicians, taxi industry or taxi leaders. We're now seeing a very disturbing trend of educators or principals or teachers within the schooling environment. So even though the title might be political killings, but to us is these killings that develop a certain format that we want the provincial commissioner to work on it. We shared exchange notes. He will expatiate on it, but it's an area that we need in our province. There are many cases that are cold, that we really believe they should not be called. We should go and investigate, especially ward councillors. When we are going to local government elections next year, we don't want to see a sudden rise of killings of ward councillors. Naledi, on temporary jobs and what Britain said, young people's interest, I'll leave it to MEC Maile. I'm not sure they've already managed to track those statistics, but I'll leave that to MEC Maile. PC, you want to exchange with MEC?
Thank you very much to the Premier, the MECs present, the HOD, media in the House. Sound like having is echo in this one, MEC. This one. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think on the main it's 2 questions, of which the Premier have had a touch on one of the questions. Maybe the first one is the arrest, as you making a reflection that you have in the numbers. Indeed, you have in the numbers, which was released by our media work stream in terms of the G20, because we're very much organized, Premier, in terms of that. The numbers which we have discussed also linked to the night joints, because I'm the part of the night joints and the prov joints, which directly affect the G20. It's 14 cases, and the Premier have outlined, the majority of them, as we had this meeting in the morning, and we made a presentation as a law enforcement. So out of that 14 cases, we had a total of 13 arrests, but this does not mean that each and every case goes with a suspect. For example, the case the Premier have cited in Santen, where there was this Vietnam lady, she was carrying, like a school bag, and then during that process, and then the unzip, and then the cell phone was taken. We systematically put the team worked through, they followed those people wearing the similar clothes. We ended up getting them in the Honeydew Policing Precinct. As we arrest them for another crime, we also link them with that. Initially, it was 4 suspects, and added to that, we had additional of 2. So in that one case, it's a 6. The Premier outlined 1,792. You must take note that, yes, of course, we're focusing on the G20, but you must know that crime gets committed across the province. So we had quite a number of operations which we have put together as a law enforcement agency, like Shanyela 2. Though as a law enforcement, we said that because of the G20 Premier, we'll make sure that we direct the operational activities to Johannesburg district in order to assist towards G20. So those numbers, they're indeed the arrest during the course of this G20, what the Premier have outlined. For example, on Thursday, I was personal. For Shanyela, I was in Hillbrow, Johannesburg, and Saturday I was in Alexander. Though it was raining, I think you have seen some of the clips in terms of that operational activities. Maybe safe to say, before the actual main event, the Leaders Summit, started, we have created a plan, or we have put a plan for safer city across the province for the 5 districts, of which we had to ensure that there are operational activities week in, week out, in order to mitigate whatever crimes across the province. But during the G20, we had a clear comprehensive plan derived from the night joints in terms of what they conceptualize. We put it into an operational mode. We have covered the road security, which is routes. which was managed by the most senior people from different law enforcement agencies. We had also CT security, of which the Premier have indicated the 2 Brazilian pilots, those who were in Santen, but they were staying in Kempton Park. We could pick it up in the early hours of the morning, 04:52 in the morning, as they were walking on foot there. So clearly, I think we had it on that one. But coming to this other last question in terms of the political Tassim killings, the National Commissioner have given a directive in terms of setting up that one. And from the political line, the Premier, they had discussions of that, and we have indeed, as a province, set up that the political task team within the province in terms of the framework. Maybe lastly, saying that that has also to do with the minister was in Westbury, Sofa Town, was in Recher Park, in terms of those areas which are affected by the gangs, and of which in South Africa we are putting together, we have put together the similar or the plans which address those issues within those areas which are affected, which includes, amongst other things, the drug master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask Premier that maybe while MEC Mailemos decide, we take the second round.
I thought this thing
In the interest
is
of time.
audible. Okay.
We need this one.
Anyway, I'm quick, so that's why I didn't want to move. Mine is less than 2 minutes. No, thanks, Premier. Maybe let me start with a question about how many jobs. We will, on Tuesday next week, deliver the midterm budget statement. We will give numbers around the number of jobs that have been created by Gauteng, which is about 200,000 in the last year, which is more than any other province. And you will remember that it was estimated that there will be about 3.6 billion that will be invested into the Gauteng economy. But when you look at the G20, don't look at it just for this weekend. G20 started when we received the baiting. At least we went to Brazil. So from January throughout, there has been different activities. So we will give you a preliminary figures maybe for the weekend and all that, but we don't want to tamsak because mid-January there will be a complete report about the impact of G20 on the tourism of the country. And that will take into consideration the festive numbers, because some of the guests have remained in the country. It might not be in the province, they might have gone to Mpumalanga and other Limpopo and all that. So we will give you a comprehensive report. What kind of business do we want? Which industries? We are clear. We have an economic plan. Some of the elements of that economic plan, and including the growth target that we are targeting, I think the Premier will speak about some in the state of the province. I will speak about the other areas, how we're going to do it in the main budget speech in March. But agro-processing is one of them, tourism is one of them, digital economy is one of them, manufacturing is one of them. We've identified about 12 sectors that we want to focus on. But you'll also appreciate that Gauteng is a diversified economy. You've got all the different sectors, and therefore you can't pick and choose. You might want to emphasize on certain things like manufacturing. And as you know, manufacturing has got different subsectors and all that. And so at the right platform, we can discuss in detail, including how we're going to do it. We've got a 10 pillars plan. that is going to focus on industrialization amongst others and many other areas. So we do have an idea, a vision, and a plan of for the Gauteng economy. And as you know, we've had an investment conference, attracted 312 billion. We have another one. We're going back to Davos in January. We're going to engage. So in terms of the economy, we are having a vision. Brenton, I'm sure you agree, ne?
Thank you so much, MEC. We have 3 more questions, which I assume will be the last round. Quickly ask the question, and then we'll move the mic to the other side.
Yes, Siyabonga Sithole from Independent Media. I just want to find out from the Premier, in terms of what has been described as a successful G20 summit, what would be your standout moments and some of the declarations and commitments that have been made that speak to how the Premier sees the province and his administration? Thanks.
I'm going to ask the Premier to respond to that question while we move the mic to the other side so that we can get the other 2 questions.
Well, Sabonga, to me, what stood out, Sabonga, to me, to be quite frank, is when you see those heads of states coming from different countries in our province, in our city in particular, and the manner in which they shared their appreciation of the work that we've done. We are quite aware that there have been disinformation across before they arrived here. To see all of them, the head of state of India in particular, going beyond his normal engagement to interact with business people that are coming from India. It was an indication that it's not about the Leader Summit alone, but it's an appreciation of our work and appreciation of our investment here. But the manner in South Africans, I mean, let's be frank, we only went back to our factory settings of commissions and ad hoc committees today. From last week Friday, South Africans really opened up for this. Even when Godzilla tried to tweet about a pothole, people said, hey, we're in G20, wait, don't disrupt us. I mean, to me, it was just South Africans saying we are defending this moment as South Africans. And to me, that stood up to say we might have our own differences, but when they are guests or when the country is expected to rise to the occasion, let's do so. And collectively, I mean, the road closures, let's be honest, were too much. But South Africans understood that it will pass, and there is a purpose. And for that, I think I can say those 2 are events that stood up for me, and that's why even today, our core message is nothing else but to thank South Africans, you know, and those that normally misbehave. Let's thank them for behaving the way they've behaved thus far. But we had behind the scenes discussions as well that were unsavory, if I have to say it myself. MEC Mamabule have to leave cabinet to go and sit down with SAMU. And you all know when SAMU want to close the freeways, they close the freeways. So SAMU Tshwane and SAMU Johannesburg wanted to close the freeways on Thursday and Friday. So we have to ask MEC Mamabolo to go. And when he gave them a political lecture, I think they understood that it's not about their demands, about the country. And they retreated. Obviously, there are 1 or 2 those that continue with their protest. We can't stop that. Thanks.
Thanks, Premier. Let's take the questions on our left.
Okay, thank you. Refilo Mekwa, SABC News Radio. So, Premier, among the challenges that you experienced throughout this process, which one was the most difficult to deal with? And the second one and the last one, of course, is how much was spent, or how much did it cost the province in terms of having all these various law enforcement agencies? Thank you, throughout the summit.
Thank you so much, Refile. I mean, the police indicated from their budget alone is almost 17 million. just for overtime, their cars and other things. We are consolidating our figures because we need to add local government. But what we said, and that's the cabinet decision that we took, no additional money will put for G20 because G20 is about the things that we do every day anyway. We must fix potholes. So you can't say we need more money to fix potholes. We've got the budget to fix potholes. So we didn't put additional money as a provincial government. Maybe local government have done so, but I don't think so as well. So we'll consolidate and give you the figures. That excludes the national figures, I think national, because they were responsible for Nazareth, they were also responsible for accommodation and other related matters, so we won't know. Refugee, to be quite frank, what pains me and hurts me, it's a coordinated effort to vandalize our systems. The cable theft and the people that are assigned to destroy infrastructure for cable theft, it's worrying and disturbing. I mean, you put up a traffic light today, tomorrow it's gone, and you have to come again to fix the same traffic light. And sabotage. I mean, at one stage we felt that there is that hand that is at play. I mean, the DG had to be assigned to the airport. I think we had 2 blackouts at OR Tambo. Yeah, 2 blackouts. OR Tambo. That's a port of entry. And if you check the work there, you feel that there are some people that don't want this event to go ahead. I mean, the day before the event, the seat of government, Union Building, was dark with no electricity. The problem that the saboteurs or those that want to vandalize our system didn't know is that we had to pull the experts from all institutions of government to reside in Gauteng for that period, so that the problem can be fixed immediately. We don't have to wait. And I have to thank even the CEO of Eskom. You know, they've sent their team, Rand Water, they've sent their team. So we have to have the team that can assist us. And the police, I mean, if you can check the number of people they've arrested, that's specifically related to vandalism. You can see that some people that are not happy when the country is operating. There are some people that are not happy when systems are functional. They want to paint this picture that this government does not know what it's doing and this government can't run government. So that's the area, I feel, to be quite frank, that worried us during this period. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Skarama Fukwani, Newsroom Africa. Yep. Premier, firstly, thank you so much, and I think I'd like to extend our congratulatory message to you and your team for hosting the G20 as a province and the city of Joburg. I want to quote what you said when you said we want to commit that we will continue the work beyond G20. My question, and Refilo took one of my questions, just a simple question: what was preventing the work before G20? Leading to we shouldn't attribute all this good work to G20, but what was preventing the work, the cleanliness of Johannesburg, the coordination, law enforcement, and all that. And I think in a conversation I had with the public protector, she was disappointed in a way that she's happy but disappointed at the same time that she sees Joburg being so clean, but she in her own words wanted to see Joburg clean for its residents rather than for international visitors, as she put it. So my question is, beyond the G20, what was preventing the systems that we had and the coordination that we had before then? Thank you.
You know, it was during our State of the Province address, that was in March, February, March, that we declared that we're going to change the CBDs, we're going to fill the potholes, we're going to... It's just that the announcement of G20 came within that context. MEC Mamabulo, for example, on law enforcement agencies, since February, have been holding meetings with municipalities every Tuesday. There's nothing to do with G20. including the provincial commissioner, they sit in that meeting every Tuesday since February. I appreciate the sense where people believe that we did this because international guests were coming. It's a moment that you can't ignore. I mean, I know in my house as well, if my in-laws or some people come, I go an extra mile. I mean, it's a demonstration that their daughter is safe in my place. I mean, but the public protector is correct. We don't have to, and that is why I said to the team, it must not be G20 routes only. It must be Deep Slot. It must be Orange Farm. It must be Oliver. It must be Tembisa. That we need to do this work. We must not say a visitor will not go to Tembisa, therefore Tembisa must be on the back burner. But if you can see the lots of work that we've done in townships, in hostels, during this period, even though we knew that the delegates will not go to George Koch Hostel, but we felt we must fix George Koch Hostel. So it's that there are some areas that are not in the public eye and people will not understand them. But we will continue, and we have to. And we want to have seamless events that don't disrupt the day-to-day lives of South Africans. For example, a Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates match, we should not have the traffic that we have or cell phones not working when one Brown is dancing at FNB Stadium. Then phones are not working. It must not be like that. So we are now taking advantage of this to then also solve other problems that we had as a problem. But indeed, G20 was a launching pad. I don't want to undervalue or underscore that we went an extra mile during this period. Thanks, man. Elijah, you saw the bell was ringing, and
Yes.
I've got questions to answer. Thus, the DA will pass another motion to say, I'm not respecting them in their house. So my apologies.
Thank you so much, Premier. Thank
But
you so
I'm
much.
available, those that want to do one-on-ones or interviews beyond here. Today, I can do that. I can come to their studios if they want me to come to their studios or their newsroom. So apologies, those that.
Thank you so much, Premier. Colleagues, we've come to the end of the media briefing. There's catering, so feel free to assist yourselves. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Well.
Yeah. Thank you.